After inheriting my father's oil empire, my husband asked me for a divorce, saying he needed to follow his heart. Weeks later, I received an invitation to his wedding with my sister, wearing the ring I had chosen. The invitation arrived on a Tuesday morning. The paper was thick, cream-colored, with golden edges. My hands trembled as I held it. The words danced before my eyes. Fernando and Mariana celebrate their union. Mariana, my own sister. I sat on the edge of my bed, the room spinning around me. It had only been a month since Fernando had asked me for a divorce. Lorena, he had told me that night, his voice deceptively gentle. Things have changed. I'm not the same man anymore. No, he definitely wasn't. The man I fell in love with in college, the one I supported through years of struggles and failures, would never have planned to marry my sister, while still married to me. Images flooded my mind. Family lunches where Fernando always insisted on sitting next to Mariana. Late-night calls he claimed were for work. The times I found them laughing together in the garden, going silent the moment I approached. Everything made sense when I remembered my father's funeral just 2 months ago. While I was dealing with grief and the sudden responsibilities of inheriting the company, they had been particularly close, consoling each other. Fernando had even insisted that Mariana stay at our house for those weeks to better support me. My phone vibrated. It was a message from Bianca. Sweetheart, have you received the invitation yet? Mariana is so excited. She says she always knew Fernando was the right man for her. Always knew. Of course she did. I stood up and walked to the mirror. The woman staring back at me was not the same as 2 months ago. Back then, I was just the friendly face of the company, chosen to appease the investors. Now, I was the CEO of Santos Petroleum, the largest oil company in the country. My father had chosen me, not Mariana, not Fernando. Your sister is too impulsive, my father had told me on his deathbed. And Fernando, there's something about him that never convinced me. You are strong, Lorena. You've always been the strong one. I opened the drawer of my vanity and pulled out an old photo. It was from my wedding day 5 years ago. Fernando was smiling at the camera. Now, I saw something in that smile I had never noticed before. Calculation, determination, perhaps even triumph. How long had they been planning this? How many times had they laughed at me behind my back?
My phone buzzed again.
This time, it was a message from Fernando. Lorena, I know this is difficult, but I hope you can understand. The heart wants what it wants. I stared at the screen for a long time, the words blurring as the tears I had refused to shed finally fell. But they weren't tears of sadness. They were of rage, of betrayal, of a fury so deep it burned inside me. I remembered all the times Fernando had complained about not having enough power in the company. How my father never gave him the recognition he thought he deserved. How Mariana always said she would have done things differently. Better. I picked up the invitation and my wedding photo. With deliberate movements, I placed them both in the fireplace of my bedroom. As the flames consumed the paper, a cold calm washed over me. They had made a fundamental mistake. They mistook my kindness for weakness. They forgot that I am the daughter of Antonio Santos, the man who built an empire from nothing. The woman who now controlled every aspect of the company they so desperately coveted. My phone rang once more. It was Rosa, my assistant. Ms. Lorena, the board is waiting. Shall we proceed with the changes we discussed?
Yes.
My voice was firm. It's time to make some significant changes to the company structure. The first phase of my response was already in motion. Fernando was still the CFO, a position he had only gotten because of me. And Mariana, my dear sister, had just been appointed Director of Public Relations, another gift from me. How convenient that the first board meeting under my leadership was precisely to review and restructure all executive positions. As I walked toward the boardroom, I thought about my father's words. In business, as in life, the best revenge is success. I had never fully understood that phrase. Until now. Fernando and Mariana wanted to play? Fine. But they had forgotten something crucial. I don't play to win. I play to destroy. I had been waiting for this. From the moment I received that invitation, from the first time I saw their names printed together, I knew this day would come. Not because Fernando felt any real regret, but because men like him don't regret. They just miscalculate. And Fernando miscalculated. I knew it the second I walked into the boardroom that morning. All eyes were on me as I took my seat at the head of the table, the seat that was rightfully mine. The silence was almost deafening. Some board members knew what was coming. Others were eager to see how I would handle the situation. But the most interesting one was Fernando. He hadn't expected this. He thought Mariana would inherit the company.
It was obvious now.
The shock in his eyes, the slight sweat on his forehead, the way he clenched his fingers against the table. Mariana wasn't present at this meeting. She was never included in high-level discussions. But I knew that wherever she was just as stunned. When my father died, Fernando thought he had won. He believed Mariana was the obvious choice, the sweet, charming daughter he could manipulate at will. He was convinced that by marrying her, he would gain full control of Santos Petroleum. But he forgot one very important detail. I am the heir. I am the one my father chose. And now, with my new position secured, it was time to make that crystal clear. The meeting went exactly as I expected. I laid out the necessary structural changes for the company's future, a polite way of saying, cleaning house. Fernando was the first to fall. With a neutral expression, I informed the board that the CFO position would be restructured, and, after a brief deliberation, his dismissal was approved. No resistance. No hesitation. He was never indispensable. The blow was brutal. He tried to argue, to stand up, to say this was a mistake, that his experience was valuable. But no one was willing to listen. He was just a parasite my father had tolerated for far too long. As I left the meeting, I felt my phone vibrate. Fernando. I smiled. He didn't waste any time. I let the call go to voicemail. Over the next few days, he tried everything. Formal messages, requesting a meeting to discuss his unfair dismissal. Then, more desperate messages, claiming I was being irrational, that he had dedicated years to the company. Then came the personal messages. Lorena, we need to talk. You can't just erase everything we had. I made a mistake, but so did you. We can fix this. I laughed out loud. Did he really think he still had any power over me? I ignored them all. Until, in an act of pure desperation, he showed up at my house. I opened the door, and there he was. Fernando, the man who had sworn eternal love to me and, weeks later, married my sister. The same man who thought I would sit idly by while he tried to steal everything that was mine. But now he was different. His arrogance was gone. His face looked tired, his expression pleading. Lorena, he began, but I raised my hand, stopping him. Why are you here, Fernando? I asked coldly. He ran a hand through his hair, clearly uncomfortable. I made a mistake, he said, forcing a weak smile. I thought I knew what I wanted, but I was wrong. I miss you. I rolled my eyes. Oh, so now you miss me? How convenient. What happened, Fernando? Mariana didn't inherit the company like you expected? He lowered his head. She's not you. I laughed. I laughed hard. Of course she's not. And you just realized that now? You thought I'd sit back and do nothing while you tried to destroy me? You bet everything on Mariana inheriting the company, didn't you? He didn't answer. But he didn't have to. I already knew. You played your hand wrong, Fernando. You bet everything on the wrong person. And now you've lost everything. He tried to step closer, to touch my hand. I pulled away. Lorena, we were happy. We can be happy again. I know you still feel something for me. My laugh was sharp. Oh, I do feel something for you. Disgust. His eyes flickered with something close to desperation. I was blind. I made a mistake. But we can start over. I crossed my arms and stared at him for a long moment. Then I smiled. Of course, Fernando. We can start over. The hopeful gleam in his eyes almost made me laugh again. But first, tell me, how's Mariana? He paled. She doesn't understand. Things aren't how I imagined. I pretended to think. So, Mariana, my dear sister, wasn't the prize you thought she was? Lorena, please? Oh, Fernando, you really don't get it, do you? I sighed, feigning pity. You didn't just betray me. You humiliated me. You planned this, laughed at me, cast me aside, thinking you had won. And now, here you are begging for what you threw away. He tried to argue, but I was done. You know the difference between us? I asked, crossing my arms. You play to win. I play to destroy. And without another word, I shut the door in his face. Fernando tried to insist, sent more messages, called dozens of times. But I never answered, because Fernando was already finished. He just didn't know it yet. And Mariana? Well, it didn't take long for her to realize she wasn't that special either. Without the title of Santos Petroleum's First Lady, she lost all her appeal to him. When he finally stopped trying to reach me, I heard he had gone back to his mother's house.
No job.
No wife. No future. And me? I remained exactly where I belonged. At the top. And this time, with no one left to betray me. Fernando thought coming back to me would be easy. He really believed that all he had to do was knock on my door, throw out a few poorly rehearsed apologies, and I, the woman he had betrayed and tried to destroy, would welcome him back with open arms. It was almost comical, but I wasn't interested in simply turning him away. I wanted him to feel it. I wanted him to suffer. And I knew exactly how to make that happen. Fernando betrayed me for power. He was never in love with Mariana. She was just a means to an end. But the end never came. He bet everything on her and lost. Now, he was trying to crawl back to the only woman who had ever actually had something to offer him. I wasn't just going to say no and close the door. That would be too easy. I wanted to destroy him. The next day, I sent Mariana a message. "We need to talk. Come to my office tomorrow at 10 a.m. She replied almost instantly. "Why? Do you want to save your marriage or not?" She confirmed within a minute. I knew Fernando wouldn't tell her that he had come to me, that he had begged to come back. Men like him never admitted their failures. But I would make sure she found out. The next morning, Mariana walked into my office, her chin held high like she still thought she was my rival. "What do you want, Lorena?" I crossed my legs slowly, watching her with a cold smile. "Your husband was at my house yesterday." Her expression cracked for a split second. "What?" I leaned forward. "He came to see me, said he misses me, that he made a mistake, that he wants to fix things with me." The shock on her face was immediate. "You're lying." I laughed. "Mariana, darling, do you really think I would make this up? That I would waste my time with you?" She opened her mouth but said nothing. I continued. "He touched me, you know? Tried to hold my hand. Said you weren't me, that things weren't how he imagined." Mariana went pale. "That can't be true." "Oh, but it is. And if you want proof, I can show you all his messages. Or better yet, you can ask him yourself." She was silent for a moment, then grabbed her phone. "I'm calling him right now." I raised an eyebrow.
No.
"Even better. Let's go see him together." I had already set everything up. I grabbed my coat and walked out of the office, Mariana following me like a storm cloud ready to strike. She was furious, but not at me. The rage in her eyes was all for Fernando. When we got to their house, I didn't even have to knock. She stormed inside. Fernando was sitting on the couch, beer in hand, acting like his life wasn't falling apart. The moment he saw Mariana and me together, his expression twisted into panic. "Mariana, love, what's going on?" She threw her phone at him. "Want to explain why you went to my sister begging to get back with her?" Fernando looked at me, desperate, but I just crossed my arms and smiled. That's not true. Lorena is lying. She's trying to break us up." I laughed loudly. "You are so predictable, Fernando. Here, let me help you." I pulled out my phone and opened the messages. "Look at this. Lorena, I know this is difficult, but I hope you can understand. The heart wants what it wants." Mariana looked at the screen. Her face turned red with rage. "You son of a bitch. Baby, please, it doesn't mean anything." I was confused. "I just wanted to talk." She lunged at him. "You wanted to talk? You wanted to go back to her, you bastard?" I could see the desperation growing in him. He tried to grab her arms, but she shoved him off. "I gave up everything for you, Fernando. Everything. And you ran to my sister like a lost puppy?" "Mariana, please." She grabbed a glass from the table and threw it at him. He flinched, barely dodging it. I watched the scene, satisfied. But I wasn't done yet. "Mariana, you do know he only married you because he thought you'd inherit the company, right?" She froze.
What?
Fernando's eyes widened in terror. "Lorena, don't."
Oh, yes.
"You never wondered why he proposed to you the second our father died? He thought I'd be pushed aside and that you'd take over. He wanted the company, Mariana. You were just a stepping stone for him." She looked at him, searching for a denial. But he said nothing. That was the final straw. "Get out of my house," Mariana hissed. Fernando blinked. "What?" I said. "Get out of my house." She ripped off her wedding ring and threw it at him. Fernando stood there for a second, stunned. Then he looked at me like I was supposed to help him. "You set this up." "No, darling. You buried yourself." He looked around, as if searching for an escape, then let out a nervous laugh. "This is a mistake. You'll regret this." Mariana crossed her arms. "You have 5 minutes to pack your things and leave before I call the police." I could see in her eyes that she meant it. Fernando hesitated, but then he turned and walked upstairs to pack. Mariana leaned against the wall, taking a deep breath. When she looked at me, something new was in her gaze. "You planned this, didn't you?" I shrugged. "I just exposed the truth." She laughed without humor. "You were always the smarter one." I didn't deny it. Minutes later, Fernando came down with a suitcase. He looked at us one last time before walking out the door. As I watched him cross the street, with nothing, with no one, I finally knew. My revenge was complete. And this time, he had nowhere left to run. Revenge was sweet, but success was even better. After kicking Fernando out of my life for good, my priority was simple: consolidate and expand Santos Petroleum. I didn't just want to maintain my father's empire, I wanted to make it even bigger. It was a long and exhausting process. During the first year after taking over as CEO, I completely immersed myself in the business. I restructured the entire board, eliminating any trace of influence that Fernando and Mariana might have had. I made strategic cuts, changed suppliers, renegotiated contracts, and expanded our operations into international markets. The results were undeniable. Santos Petroleum, already the largest oil company in the country, became one of the leading global players. We secured multi-million-dollar contracts in the Middle East, expanded our fleet of oil tankers, and entered the renewable energy sector, diversifying our investments to ensure that no one could ever bring us down. With every contract signed, every positive financial report, every magazine article praising my leadership, I knew I was honoring my father's legacy. And more importantly, I knew that every one of these achievements was a direct blow to Fernando and Mariana's egos. They wanted to take me down. Now, they could only watch from a distance as my empire grew, powerless to stop it. And Fernando? Well, he didn't last long. After being kicked out by Mariana, he tried to re-establish himself in the financial world. But his reputation was ruined. The man who once believed he was on the verge of controlling one of the biggest companies in the country could barely land an interview. He bounced between mediocre jobs and irrelevant consulting gigs until, eventually, he disappeared from the corporate world altogether. I heard he ended up moving to a smaller town, where he now works at a regional bank, a position far below the ambitions he once had for himself. And Mariana? She tried to keep up appearances for a while. She pretended to still be an influential socialite, attempted to break into event planning and marketing, but her credibility was gone. She became just another irrelevant name in high society, someone tolerated out of politeness, but never truly respected. The final blow came when she realized she had no one left to support her. Without Fernando, without my family, and without the privileges she had expected to inherit, she was forced to reinvent herself. Through contacts, I found out she started a small agency and is trying to stay afloat. But for someone who always thought she was destined for greatness, living off small projects must feel worse than bankruptcy. And me? I won. But the truth was, after so much time focusing on business and revenge, I realized something was missing. That's when I met Miguel. He wasn't part of the corporate world. He was an environmental engineer, working on sustainable projects, and we first met at a renewable energy conference. He didn't know who I was. He didn't care about my wealth or the empire I controlled. It was refreshing. Our relationship started naturally, no games, no manipulations. For the first time in years, I allowed myself to relax, to trust. With him, I learned that my life didn't have to be just about business and revenge. Slowly, I started making room for other things. I still led Santos Petroleum, but now with a vision for the future, investing not just in profit but in innovation and sustainability. Miguel and I worked together on clean energy projects, ensuring that my father's company didn't just dominate the industry, but evolved into something even greater. My life was complete. And Fernando? He tried one last time. I once received a message from him. It was pathetic. A half apology mixed with a weak attempt to see if there was still any chance for him. I didn't respond. He didn't deserve even that. The last I heard of him, he was divorced for the second time and living a mediocre life. He never regained the influence he had so desperately craved. And Mariana? She never truly recovered. We don't speak anymore, but deep down I know she still blames herself for betting on Fernando and losing everything. I, on the other hand, moved forward. I have an empire, true love, and the certainty that I did justice, not just for myself, but for my father's legacy. In the end, Everyone got what they deserved. And me? I simply lived.